Welcome back everyone to another Bitcoin update. So what a awesome move we have seen today from Bitcoin with the new trading week market opening up. We have seen another rally by Bitcoin which broke above this previous high at 73,800, and right now we are at 74,600, getting pretty close to that 76,000 region. So overall, that is looking very good for this 5-wave move up in which we have been tracking. And we said last video, there's a couple possibilities that could have happened. We could have had a 1-2 setup, so a lower high here, and then could have gone for a larger dump before possibly working on a higher move up. Otherwise, we could have just pumped and gone for another high, and all of this could have been, instead of this being a 3, 4, 5-wave move up, all of this could have been the third wave, and then this could have just been the fourth wave, and then we get one more high in that fifth wave before we get that second wave correction. So we were leaning a little bit more towards just getting the second wave correction right then and then going higher up, but because we broke above this swing high over here, we said if that happens, we break above resistance, well then it just becomes more likely that this was all of the third wave instead of all 5 waves, and then this was just a fourth wave move down, and then now we have that healthy fifth wave move up, just because this move over here was just a little bit different, and we were hoping for higher prices as well. For those that like to do short scalps or anything like that, we'll kind of go over some of the indicators and why I am opening up a short position as well. If you haven't seen any of our messages on X, or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, we were talking about this move. I had an original short position around this spot over here and fell down a little bit, a couple $100 on the Bitcoin price. So I took a little bit of profit. I said, I'm leaning towards maybe a rejection and heading lower, but if we just pump straight up just with how the market is, I wouldn't even be surprised if we saw 74 to 76,000, and that is exactly what we're seeing right now. So this doesn't surprise me at all. I am adding a little bit more to my short in the meantime, not to my Bitcoin short, but to my Ethereum short, and I'll go over why, just some of the other indicators that I'm seeing that I am very liking, and that also lines up very well with liquidity and also a second wave move down. Now, always keep in the back of your mind that we still have this bearish scenario for the fourth orange wave. I'd say once we kind of break above this, then we can get rid of that and then possibly just try to measure out of when this B wave will top. And even this B wave still could just bottom here. We could get rejected and head lower, and that could be old B wave. That's always something that we need to look out for. But we're going to wait and see when this move will top. You never know. It could just go straight up to 80,000 and then get rejected. More than likely, probably won't happen, but you just kind of never know with this market. It seems like there was positive talks with Iran and the US for their ceasefire talks, so it's very nice to see, and it really isn't a coincidence that it's lining up very well with our roadmap and support and resistance. That's just pretty much how nice Elliot wave is, because it kind of gives you that broader market sentiment and different road paths that could happen if support and resistance and different swing lows and swing highs. And yeah, so that's it for the analysis part for this. There isn't really too much to talk about other than we do have a pretty full first wave now, and could go a little bit higher. Like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if we go to that 75, 76,000 region. This already is a complete 5-wave move up. Now we can expect a 3-wave move down and a second wave, which could put us back around this price region, back around here. It doesn't need to. It's a support zone. It's not a magnet. Maybe a ceasefire deal gets done, and then we just kind of pump higher, and then that could be all of our B wave. Like I said, you just never know with the market, but not expect, but just be ready if we do see a little bit of a sell-off and we head back down here before heading higher as well. It's a support zone. It's not a magnet. It's not needed, but it's just something to kind of look out for. So if we head over to the RSI, I'll just kind of go over for some of the shorts. Firstly, I'm liking that we're getting pretty close to overbought on the 4-hour territory. this bearish divergence played out very nicely on the 4-hour chart. On the 1-hour chart, we are heavy overbought, hitting that 80 region. Now, even when we do hit 80, it's not extreme to see Bitcoin go higher afterwards to form bearish divergences. So that's why if we go a little bit higher to that 75, 76,000 range, that really wouldn't surprise me at all, just because we've seen Bitcoin do it multiple times before of bearish divergences. So if we do get that move, wouldn't be surprising at all. Maybe all of this fifth wave could be a 1, 2, and then this could be a third wave, and then we get a fourth wave, and then a fifth wave, and then that could be all of our fifth wave for the first wave, and then we can get that 3-wave correction before having a possible impulsive third rally, just because third wave rallies are usually the most impulsive. So same thing here, kind of slight, not a bearish divergence, but we're just kind of knocking multiple times on the overbought, and volume is slowly getting lower and lower on each rally that we get. So it's just something to kind of look out for as well. And a possible short-term drop wouldn't be too surprising if we do see that. On the daily, we are of course heading higher on the RSI, and we just have to watch out for the trend line around that 65 to 70 range on the daily. That trend line that we've been getting rejected on since we really been talking about this trend line since this move back here. If we head over to the liquidity, here's another reason why I'm adding more. I added an Ethereum short, and then if Bitcoin goes to 76,000, I'll probably add a little bit more to that short as well. Liquidity is really heavy right now on the longs, especially this 70. Well, we'll go over the zones right now. We have this zone here at 73,500 of this smaller cluster back here that goes to there, and then we have a larger region down here at that 69 to 70,000 range, which could very well be hit on that second wave move down. Wouldn't be surprising if we do see it, but we still do have a small cluster up here, so if we do go higher, don't be surprised. The liquidity is showing it. And we'll go over the heat map as well. I posted this on X today as well. We had two zones, 74,000 or 69,000, and it seems like the market has chosen this 74,000 region. Now up here, we still have some liquidity to go for Bitcoin up to about 75, 76,000. That's why I said if we go to that range, it really wouldn't surprise me. It makes sense liquidity wise as well, and it would make very nice for an added to short for my short position. What's my strategy shouldn't be your strategy, and obviously nothing's guaranteed. Nothing is financial advice, and you should have your own strategy. Now if we go over to the funding rate, I want to see if this is updated. So this is a little bit delayed, but another thing I'm liking is that this negative funding rate is starting to head down a little bit. It's a little hard to see on here. I'll get to another one as well. Before we could do that, we will go over open interest super quickly. And yeah, open interest is still rising up. It's below this position over here, so I guess in some way you can see that as good news for at least a divergence of some sort, but it wouldn't really take it too seriously at all. But overall, open interest is going up, so it is kind of nice to see for that rally as well. And then over here, if we go over to the 15-minute, just something I kind of want to point out is the funding rate is starting to go from heavy negative. And like we said in the last video, I mean, when we're so heavy in one direction, it's not unusual to see it go the opposite way. So heavy negative, price goes higher. Heavy negative, price goes higher. Now that we're starting to go a little bit lower and we're starting to decrease this funding rate, I still wouldn't be surprised if we go higher in the short term. Just maybe, like I said, 75, 76,000. That's not surprising if we do see that. And what I want to see to add to my Bitcoin short position is I want to see this turn positive. The more the heavier the positive, the better that it would be. Obviously, it's not always guaranteed that we do get a big drop afterwards, but usually when we do get overheated on the funding rate, it's not, or sorry, I guess a positive funding rate, it's not surprising to see some sort of drop that happens afterwards as well. Even though this one wasn't the highest, it still went from 72,700 to 70,700. So about a 2,000 drop, which is still pretty nice for short positions as well. But it's just kind of it's just a nice little indicator that I myself just like to look at for. It's good to see that we're decreasing this such bearish sentiment in the market. And if we do turn positive, that would be a sign for me, not guaranteed. Shouldn't be your strategy either, but it would just be a nice sign to see as well. And on the order book, we do have a lot of buys here back for Bitcoin for that 74, mid 74 region. And then a lot of sell orders, or I guess not a lot, but just sell orders that are stacking up, but not as much here. And from what I can tell, there's not any large clusters that are far away, but just the zone up here around that 75,000 range. So yeah, short term, what can we expect, or just some predictions that we can at least look for? I wouldn't be surprised, just because right now momentum is up. Funding rate is still negative, even though it is going down. Funding rate is still negative. Open interest is going up, and there is still liquidity to the upside. So short term, I mean, it's not guaranteed, but it shouldn't shock anyone if we do go a little bit higher in the meantime. Maybe form some divergences on the bearish divergences on the RSI as well before we do get at least a cool down. Maybe we don't get a large, or I guess not a large correction. Maybe we could just go sideways before heading higher. That's always the case as well if the market is feeling super bullish. But just with how overbought everything is, I think it would make sense to go a little bit higher, form some bearish divergences on larger time frames for RSI before getting a correction, maybe back towards this price region around maybe 70 to 72,000. Or sorry, maybe we could do like a zone between like maybe like 69,000 to 72,000. That wouldn't be too surprising if we do see something like that as well, but obviously it doesn't need to, and it's not guaranteed. So yeah, that's pretty much everything for this video. Not really too much has changed, other than we do have a pretty complete first wave. So let's get a 3-wave move down. That would form a nice 1-2 setup on the larger time, or not larger time frame, but on a higher time frame. And if things hold, we bounce off from support, we could possibly see a impulsive 3rd wave rally before a 4 and a 5, and then that could be all of our C wave and our B wave, and then we could possibly get a correct or a rejection and head downwards. But we'll talk about that once we get a 1-2 setup formed. We'll talk about this. Let's keep tracking this move. Let's see how high it goes. And yeah, that's pretty much everything for this video. Thanks for watching. We will see you next time.